أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على خيرة الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد اللهم صل وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين روحي وأرواح العالمين لتراب مقدمه الفداء. In the name of Allah, the Compassionate, the Merciful, all praises belong to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm very grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for having this tawfiq and blessed opportunity to continue our discussions on this beautiful munajat, this beautiful supplication of Sha'baniyah, which has so many profound points for us and for our lives today. So, in the previous session, we had a preliminary discussion on the love of awliyaullah, those who love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we also talked about the particular love that was between the Imam Hussein alayhi salam and Abul Fadl Abbas alayhi salam. So today, please let's start our discussion by reciting a phrase from another supplication, which is a very profound supplication called Ziyara al-Jami' al-Kabira. In this supplication, we say to Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, Assalamu ala du'ati ila Allah wal adilla ala mardatillah. Peace be upon you, the inviters to Allah and the guides towards His satisfaction. This invitation has some interesting features. I will mention only two of them. First of all, the attention of the one who is invited is completely paid to the one towards whom he or she is invited, not to the inviter himself or herself. When someone, say a postman, for instance, brings an invitation letter for you, which invites you to a, say, birthday celebration of your friend, all your attention is paid to the celebration, not to the postman nor the letter. When we say Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam are the inviters to God, what does it mean? It means that neither they themselves, nor their words, nor their behavior attract people to them, but they all invite people towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is extremely important. But who is God? God is the comprehensive of all perfections, goodness and beauties. Because we say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is unlimited and His existence is simple, and we say existence is equal to perfection, and perfection is beautiful. So He is the most perfect and the most beautiful. Now when you see a beauty, a beautiful word, a beautiful behavior, what do you see? You are seeing the beauty of Allah. But the problem is that this world, this material world, is a dark veil, hijab dhulmani. But is it really dark? The sun and the moon have lit up everywhere. So why do you say that this world is darkness? This world is darkness because it prevents us from seeing God's light in it. The obstacle is to see that all these goodness and beauties belong to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are under constant illusion that all these beauties belong to these creatures. This is the feature and property of this world, dunya, and I explained in the previous sessions about the meaning of dunya. Dunya does not allow us to see God's light in all objects and all beings in this world. If the eyes of our hearts are not open, all these objects, all these creatures will call us toward themselves. Now let's see what we read in the Ziyarah Jam al-Kabira. We say, Salam upon you who invite people to God. It means that Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam are not trapped in this worldly veil of darkness. They are inviting us to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by their essence. All their words, actions, their behavior, everything they do are signs that are referring us to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the first point about those who invite towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The second point is about how this invitation is done. In the previous sessions, I mentioned this example that sometimes you ask someone about an address and he kindly tells you the address, but you still might lose your way. Sometimes this person doesn't just tell you the address, but he also draws the address on a piece of paper and gives it to you. But there is still a chance that you lose your way. Sometimes this person, say the host, comes to your house and knocks the door and takes your hand and takes you to his house. In this way, it is not possible for you to lose your way because he knows the way to his house and takes you exactly to the destination. This is how awliyaullah, those who love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is how Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, this is how all the prophets of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us. Okay. So that was the second point. So after all these preliminary discussions, now we are ready to start our main discussion on the four main spiritual journeys. The first journey is about going and meeting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In our ahadith, in the supplications that we received from Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, we read that Ahlul Bayt say to God that you are so close to me, but I am very away from you. We need to go towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But the majority of people haven't taken even one step on this path. It's a very long path. Let me tell you something. Let me quote something from Allama Tabatabai. He said that no one reaches the highest levels of perfection. What is the highest levels of perfection? Meeting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No one reaches the highest level of perfection unless in the majlis of Imam Hussein alayhi salam or reciting the Holy Quran while he is paying attention while he pays attention to the revealer of these words, as if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks to this person, to the reciter. So the way is long, very long, but there are ways, Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, Imam Hussein alayhi salam, and the Quran, by which we can accelerate, we can increase our speed and reach faster and safer. So the first journey is about going and meeting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I recited many verses and ahadith in the previous sessions about meeting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that is called Safar min al-khalq ila al-haq, from people to haq. Haq means truth, means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When someone, while he is or she is alive, meets Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, reaches this level of spirituality, this is not the end. This is the beginning of this second journey. Let me illustrate my point by giving an example so that we can understand the second journey. Now, unlike adults, the majority of adults, I can say, who hide their precious things from others, children have a very interesting and I can say godly feature. When they love someone, they trust him or her. For instance, when the grandpa comes to the room of his grandson or granddaughter, the child takes the hand of grandpa to his room and shows him the most beautiful things that he has. Oh, grandpa, look at this. Look at this doll. Look at this car. Look at this. He shares with him the pleasure that he or she has. Okay? This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does to those who have reached him. He takes their hands to all the beautiful attributes that he has. His glory, his knowledge, his power. He shows them, all of them, all these attributes one by one. Extremely beautiful. We cannot even imagine it. So that is Safa bil haqq fil haqq. But then, this is also a long trip, a long journey. But the third one is when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to his friend, to his beloved creature who has come all this way along to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He says to him, now that you have met with my divine attributes, I want to take you to my creatures and to show you my beauty in the river, in the tree, in the flower, in the lake, in the sea, in all creatures that I have created. You might have seen them before, my beauty in all these creatures, but this time I want to take you to all these creatures and show you the beauty, my beauty in all these creatures. Okay. And now let me tell you something. Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam and all the prophets have experienced all these journeys. They have come to creatures, towards creatures. They have called upon creatures. To what? In order to take them towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They go to the doors of people one by one. They knock the door of their hearts to take them towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What does it mean? It means that we even cannot go, we cannot start this journey. We need them to take us with themselves to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is the meaning of the guidance provided by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through Ahlul Bayt alayhim for us. We don't have the wings to soar. The only thing that we can do, if we do, is to turn our face towards them and ask them. But even we do not do this much. It came from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala back to us to take us to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They go to the people one by one. We read in the hadith about Imam Ali alayhi salam says about the whole Prophet of Islam, he was tabibun dawarun bitibbih. He was like a physician who goes to people one by one and circulates his medicine, his remedy. We need them for our spirituality. Without them, we cannot even start this journey. Without the prophets of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. And that is the true meaning of the famous hadith that every month of Muharram we hear, which says, Inna al-Husayn misbahul huda wa safinatun najah. Hussein is the ark of salvation. The hadith doesn't say that Imam Hussein alayhi salam had an ark of salvation. No. Imam Hussein himself is the ark of salvation, meaning that we are like burdens on Imam Hussein alayhi salam. He takes us, he hugs us and takes us to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the meaning of being Safinatun Najah. According to that hadith Qudsi, hadith Qurban Awafel, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is a long hadith relatively, says that if someone performs wajibat and avoids muharramat and performs then mustahabbat gradually, okay, he will reach a level that I will love him. And then he says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that I will become the hand by which he holds. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala holds our hands by the hand of Hussein. He saves us by the hand of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. We need Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. Without them, we cannot start this journey. Ayatollah Qazi Tabatabai is known as the father of Shia mysticism. Okay. He was the teacher of Allama Tabatabai and also the teacher of Ayatollah Amuli. And Ayatollah Amuli was among the first circle of the students of Ayatollah Qazi. So Ayatollah Qazi trained this circle first, and Allama Tabatabai later, after a few years, joined the second circle. Ayatollah Amali used to tell to the students of Allama Tabatabai that Allama Tabatabai is a perfect man. Okay? He's one of the awliyaullah. He's one of those who love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now I want to tell you a story. There was an old man who came across Ayatollah Amali and asked him if I can start the spiritual journey at this age. Ayatollah Amali replied, yes, you can, it's good, but it is very difficult. It is like you want to dig a mountain by your eyelash. The man became so disappointed and he started crying and left. And a few days later, he met Allama Tabatabai and quoted the conversation that he had with Ayatollah Amali. Allama Tabatabai told him that Ayatollah Amali was right. But if you start and bat the first eyelash in order to dig the mountain, if you take the first step, they will take the rest of the way. They will take you the rest of the way. They are so merciful. They are so kind to us. They are waiting for an excuse, for a simple reason to take our hands and to save us and to take us towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All these are the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the kindness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All these are manifestations of the Kareem, the generous. Let me tell you one point about the generosity of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as my last point. In a hadith we read that, I think this is from the Holy Prophet of Islam, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He says, if you give a word, if you promise your children to get them something, buy, for instance, something for them, try to keep your promise. This is very good advice. But the reason that the Holy Prophet of Islam mentions is extremely interesting and beautiful and profound. He says, because in their eyes, you, the parents, in their eyes, you are their Lord. What is the meaning of Lord? Means the one who provides sustenance. You are the sustainer. In their eyes, they're wrong. Because the sustainer is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But they have an excuse for not understanding this because they are just children, just kids. They are not mature enough in terms of the capacity of understanding to know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the sustainer. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, the Holy Prophet of Islam says that because they have this excuse and they have trust in you as their sustainer, you should keep your words. Now imagine our relation to God. Is it applicable to our relation to God? What if we trust in Allah, the true and real sustainer? Will He make us disappointed? Never. he is the real sustainer, and he knows that what this kid has on his mind is wrong. But because he cannot understand, he doesn't have the capacity of understanding to see that everything is coming from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He says that you should keep your words. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us his words to provide us our sustenance, to give us our rizq in this world, and to take our hands in the hereafter, so that we can meet him while he is happy with us, while he is pleased with us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala open the eyes of our hearts to see who really loves us. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us to turn our way, to turn our face towards Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, so that we can get on the ark of salvation of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.